Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. No, I'm just like you guys. I don't like Chris Wallace. I think he's a suit and tie. I think he's naive or either deceptive. He puts on this persona of being the standard at Fox. He's the neutral guy with no bias and just reports the facts. But of course, we know that for a fact to be untrue. But despite what I think about Chris Wallace as a journalist, as a human being, what he did in the 2020 election, despite all of that, you gotta give him credit where credit is due, and lately, he's been going after Joe Biden. I mean, it's just a fact. He's been quite honest. As the liberal press and the Twitter sphere fawned over Joe Biden's epic presidential speech during his first press conference, it was the greatest presidential speech of all time, and wow, is it such a great change since Donald Trump, is what they said. Chris Wallace slammed Joe Biden as being basically incompetent. And now, Chris Wallace went after Jen Psaki in an interview on Fox News on his Sunday show. Interesting how Jen Psaki will only go on Chris Wallace's show. I'd like to see her on Tucker or Hannity's instead. But he took it to her and essentially called her a liar. Well, not exactly surprising, considering all Jen Psaki seems to do is lie. And so once again, we got to cover the Biden administration, their lies, their lack of transparency, and we got to talk about what exactly they're trying to hide. If they're lying, what are they trying to cover up? Well, let me show you, because of course you know the media won't. And of course, you know the Joe Biden administration won't. Wait till you guys see one of the clips that I got to show you. We got a lot to get into, but before we do, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible, and with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so check out this headline right over here. FNC's Wallace to Jen Psaki. You are being less transparent than the Trump administration.
We want to provide access into the Border Patrol facilities. We are mindful of the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We want to keep these kids safe, keep the staff safe, but we are absolutely committed to transparency and providing access to media to the Border Patrol facilities, and we're working to get that done as soon as we can.
But just to clarify, Jen, that what you allowed a camera crew in to see the HHS facilities. What we're talking about here are the Border Patrol facilities, the detention cells, there is a law that let me just finish, that they are not allowed to be there for more than 72 hours. Many of them are there for 10 days. At this point, in terms of allowing access to Border Patrol facilities for reporters, you are being less transparent than the Trump administration.
You cannot just keep saying, we are absolutely committed to transparency over and over and over again, despite how disconnected it is from reality, and expect the American people to just accept your narrative. The fact is, what Chris Wallace said is true. You are being less transparent than the Trump administration, and not just a little bit less transparent, severely less transparent. In my opinion, completely unethically. There's a lack of transparency, and then there's hiding, lying, saving your own behind because you know the truth is gonna hurt you. Hiding the truth to save yourself instead of doing what's right. That's the opposite of good leadership. That's called being a politician. That's called political expediency and selfishness. And that, of course, those two words, what I just said right there, what I just described, essentially describes the Democrat Party in the modern day of politics now, doesn't it? And once again, Jen Psaki caught like a deer in the headlights, like I keep saying. I don't even know why she does this to herself. Showing up on Fox News like this, knowing full well that she does not have the answers to the questions that are going to be asked to her, lying over and over and over again, saying the same empty platitudes and expecting to, win over some support from the Fox News viewers? She just made things worse. She's been making things worse for the Biden administration for months now. I have never seen someone so disingenuous in my entire life. There's only one way to describe it. It's a political actor. That's what she is. But of course, we've covered that notion a million times before. Let's get into the severe lack of transparency and just how hard the Biden administration is hiding what's really going on. Here's a video of Ted Cruz at one of the facilities. An official, a Democrat official, blocking his camera and trying to stop Ted Cruz from reporting on the facts from what's really going on the ground. Check this out.
Please give dignity to the people. Please give dignity to the people.
So you work for the commissioner, your senior advisor. You were hired 2 weeks ago, and you're instructed to ask us to not have any pictures taken here.
Please respect the people,
because the political
rules.
leadership at DHS does not want the American people to know it.
Please respect the rules,
You keep
sir.
standing in front of the pictures, so
Please
you don't want the
respect the
pictures
rules.
taken. The rules are arbitrary, and
Please
they're
respect
designed
the
to
rules
keep
and
the
give
American
the
people
people
in the dark.
dignity and respect.
They are caught, folks. They are caught. For months, for years. They yelled from the mountaintop, kids in cages this, kids in cages that. Protect the kids. When push comes to shove and they're the ones in a leadership position, not only do they have kids in cages, but they've made the situation 10 times worse. And they cannot be allowed to get away with this. They feigned moral superiority over the border for months, as if they truly cared about the kids, and Donald Trump was this evil, maniacal, terrible man who was putting children in cages, separating them from their parents for no reason whatsoever. Of course, omitting the context that the reason children were being separated was to vet the person that they were with, the adult that they were with, to make sure that the child was properly taken care of and not being trafficked. I mean, it's logic, and the fact that I have to keep saying that and keep explaining that narrative is incredibly frustrating. Well, the Biden administration, the Democrats, they seem to care so much about the young lives that are potentially in jeopardy at the southern border, so much that they don't even seem to be doing anything to be trying to protect those kids. But I thought it was about the kids. Biden admin waives background checks for caregivers at child migrant facilities. The Associated Press reports, in the rush to get children out of overcrowded and often unsuitable border patrol sites, President Joe Biden's team is turning to a measure used by previous administrations: tent camps, convention centers, and huge facilities operated by private contractors and funded by U.S. Health and Human Services. In March alone, the Biden administration announced it will open 8 new emergency sites across the Southwest, adding 15,000 new beds, more than doubling the size of its existing system. And to staff the sites quickly, the Biden administration has waived vetting procedures intended to protect minors from potential harm. The report continues. Staff and volunteers directly caring for children at new emergency sites don't have to undergo FBI fingerprint checks, which use criminal databases not accessible to the public and can overcome someone changing their name or using a false identity. So not only is the Biden administration not vetting the actual adults who are crossing over with the children, but they're even going as far to not vet the actual people that they're hiring to work in these facilities and be caregivers for the youngins. I'm just gonna say it. The Democrats don't care. They don't care about the lives. They don't care about the people. They only care about themselves and the narrative. But of course, that's no surprise to no one and never will be. They act only for the benefit of the collective good of the Democrat Party and nothing else. Not as if they care about Americans, not as if they care about safety in your communities. Over 861 criminals caught crossing U.S. Rio Grande border, including 63 gang members and 92 SEX offenders and murderers. 861 criminals caught. The question that I ask myself is, how many are they not catching? Probably a whole lot more than 861, I'll tell you that. The Biden administration is completely in over its head, and they are failing to do what a government should do: work for its people and protect its people and its people's interests. All of it on your taxpayer dime. Speaking of your taxpayer dollars, your tax dollars at work. Biden's illegal migrants and fake refugees are being flown out across America. 40% of McAllen, Texas air traffic now migrants. Remember that story that came out not too long ago, that the Biden administration was flying out people who had crossed illegally to the Canadian border? Well, seems like it's not just the Canadian border, but across the US. How to solve the problem of the situation being so dire specifically in Texas? Well, just dilute the issue and send it all over the place. Total incompetence of leadership, a failure for the most vulnerable, the source countries of these migrants, the migrants themselves, the American people, the country as a whole, and none of it is exactly surprising considering who do you think is steering the ship? Well, there's reports that Joe Biden is consulting in Barack Obama on nearly a daily basis, and that pretty much answers everything you needed to know, now doesn't it? But that's the video that I got for you guys on this one. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We're still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. Now I gotta get back to work. Like usual, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.